What's up, grade 11? Hello. Welcome to our lesson 2, muscle and bone activities for a stronger body. Okay, exercise is integrated. When we say integrated, meaning it is combined. When doing exercises or engaging in physical activity, we are not limited to a single effect. So, kung mag-exercise ka, dili lang isa ang madamay. But exercise affects the entire body. For example, activities for the muscle. Kung sa muscles nga activities, it can also improve bone activity. So that's what we call exercise is integrated. Okay, what are those objectives of this lesson? At the end of the lesson, you should be able to differentiate muscle and bone strengthening activities from aerobic exercise and enumerate the benefits of muscle and bone strengthening activities to our body. What are those words that you will encounter? And of course, atong timan-an, first is resistance exercise. Next is static stretching. Next is static, ballistic, neuromuscular, psychological benefits. These are the words nga atong timaan along the lesson and atong uh, i-understand because possible siya mogawa sa atong mga quizzes, activities, and sa atong exam. Okay. Aerobic exercises or activity. So, what are those examples na pwede? Katong ang mga nagtun-an sa first lesson. So, kamo na bahalaan na. Okay, what are those essential questions? How do muscle and bone strengthening activities differ from aerobic activities? So, we will answer this at the end of the lesson. So, kamo ang maka-answer ani after the discussion. So, aside from aerobic exercise, which was discussed in lesson 1, resistance and stretching exercises target also to improve muscles and bone functions. Dili lang the aerobic exercises, pati resistant and stretching exercises, pwede siya maka-improve sa atong muscle and bone functions. These exercises are also included in different exercises programs. Okay, tip. Resistance and stretching exercises are best partnered together to improve muscle and bones. Okay, antagonist muscles works in pairs. Okay, when we say antagonist muscles, these are pairs of muscles that work against each other katong naga-contraction good nga muscle. For example, nag-aalsa ta og balde, so katong muscle nga duha nga naga-hold, those are antagonist muscles. The relaxed muscle is the antagonist while the synergists are the muscle that holds stationary bone still. Okay, kaysa itong mga those muscle nga nag-relax are ang tawag niya is antagonist and ang katong muscles nga nag-hold stationary sa bone is the synergies. The muscle function can be observed through the following activities. What are those following activities? First is resistance exercise. When we say resistance exercise, it requires the muscle to contract against external load. Example, katong magunit taog barbell. That's why the best example for resistant exercise. Muscle contraction has two types. What are those two types? The isometric and isotonic contraction. Okay. When we say isometric contraction, kanus man ni mahitabo ang isometric contraction? When the muscle's length stays the same. Nagakontract siya pero imong muscle same lang gyapon siya, wala siya nahitabo nga change of length. Pero kung nanay mahitabo nga change of length katong piko na siya, piko taas, that's what we called isotonic contractions. The muscle's length naga-change siya and there is movement occurs. Examples sa isotonic exercises kani, a man doing isotonic activity by putting his leg alternately on the elevated piece. Pasabot na siya change of position, change na siya movement, na siya change of length. Mugamay siya pag iyang ipiko, tas pas mo taas sa pod ang length pag iyang ipatong sa kanang murag lamisa. That's what we called isotonic. Pag isotonic gani, naa siya movement and naga-change ang iyang length. When we say isometric, naay contraction na hitabo pero walay nahitabo na movement and change of length. Okay? Sabtan? The adaptation of the body to regular resistance exercise is commonly found in nervous and musculoskeletal system. Okay. The neural changes help activating more muscles during movement. The musculoskeletal structures adapt to increase in the force production capacity of and resist fatigue. These adaptations happen when cellular level of several months of regular training. So, mahitabo ang resistance exercise, ang regular resistance exercise is mahitabo sa ato ang nervous and musculoskeletal system. When I say nervous, itong sa atong brain o sa atong mga nerves. Ang musculoskeletal system sa ato ang muscles and sa ato ang bone. Usually, ang resistance exercise and resistance adaptation mahitabo dira. It's because kana man usually ang nagalihok or naga-move during sa ato ang resistance exercise. Okay. Gina-activate niya ang more muscles during movement. Usually, mahitabo ni siya kanus maka-adapt atong muscles after several months of regular training. So basically, to adapt daw or to increase in a force production capacity and resist fatigue, basically, in the first try na to, sakit pa na siya. Pero as we go along sa training, sa resistance training, after several months sa regular training, pwede na ito makaresist og fatigue. Pasabot, maka-adapt na sa atong lawas, ma-adapt na sa atong muscle o sa atong bone, dili na siya sakit. So possible, pwede na ito makahimo og multiple repetitions. Okay, musculoskeletal structures adapt to increase in force production capacity and resist fatigue. Okay, balik naman ni siya. The primary adaptation of resistance training is an increase in the ability of the muscle to generate force or strength, meaning makahatag og kusog sa atoa. This made possible by increased muscle fiber size. Mao bitaw nang pag the more ka magsigig dumbbell, mudako imuhang biceps kay ngano man ma-increase imuhang muscle fiber size or hypertrophy that commonly starts after months of resistance exercise. The increase in muscle fiber size occur more contractile elements and fuel stores are deposited inside muscle. Evidence shows possibly of increased number of muscle size in hyperplasia or result in resistance training. For example, magsige ka og kanang alsa og dumbbell. Di ba, the more ka magsige alsa og dumbbell, after a month ana, it is ma-manifest na nimo or ma-notice na nimo nga imong muscle, imong biceps nagadako. That is because of naga-increase sa sige contraction, naga-increase ang muscle fiber pod niya. It's because of the protein. Okay. The tissues surrounding the muscles are also strengthened to resist injury. Be- the connective tissues like our tendons, ligaments, can withstand the greater forces produced by the hypertrophied muscles. Moreover, the mineral content of the bone increases in response to increased muscle strength. So kato akong giingon ganina na the more ka exercise mo, increase imong muscle fiber, and it also increases, ang bone also increases in response to increased muscle strength. So dili lang pasabot nga mudako imong muscle, kana lang ang effect sa ato ang body sa resistance sa exercise. It can also improve or increases our bone. Okay, here, the connective tissues like our tendons, ligaments can withstand greater force produce. It can also affects during, or if naapag siya kana effects during resistance training. Pwede siya ma-strengthen ng atong tendons and atong ligaments. So that's what we called exercise is integrated. When we say exercise integrated, combined siya. Dili lang isa ang maapektuhan, kundi daghan ang maapektuhan during exercises. Okay. Here sa figure 5, makita nato, each muscle fiber contains the contractile elements that are responsible for shortening the muscle. Mao ni siya ang mga muscle fiber. Okay. The resistance exercise can improve the following. What are those improvement na pwede madala sa ato sa resistance exercise? First is muscular and bone strength. So as what we are talking ganina, it can also improve muscular and bone strength. By the definition, strength is defined as the quality or state of being strong kusgan in particular. There are 3 kinds of strengths. These enumerated below corresponding examples. What are those 3 strengths? Static strength, next is explosive strength, and dynamic strength. Back here. When we say static strength, it is used to exert force in movable objects and considered an isometric activity. When we say isometric activity gani, there is no movement involved. There is no increase in size or decrease in length sa atong muscles. Because muscles stay the same length while having limited movement. It is evident in arm wrestling or sports like rugby, scrum. Examples of static strength exercises are plank bridge. Usually pag plank, na ay naitabo nga muscle contraction na sa imong lawas. Pero wala siya, it doesn't involve any change of strength, length and movement. Nagpundo lang man ka. So that's an example of isometric activity. Side bridge and 100 breaths. Gets? Okay, proceed ta sa explosive strength. When we say explosive strength, when force is exerted in one short pero fast movement. Kadiyot lang siya pero paspas iyang movement. It is used during javelin throw, kanang sa athletics, and high jump sports events. Usually, ginagamit yun sa mga athletics nga mga events. What are those example? Jumping. Example sa jumping, kadiyot lang man siya nga, kadiyot lang siya nga kining activity, pero fast movement, pinaabtik. Next is throwing. Diba, when I say explosive strength, naakay gina-exert na force in a short but fast movement. Next is kicking. Kadiyot ra siya pero paspas siya. Kusgan siya. Kuha. These are examples of explosive strength activities. Next is dynamic strength. When we say dynamic, unsa man na, naga-change siya and balik-balik. Force applied repeatedly over a long time. It is linked to endurance. When say endurance, gani katong example na as time goes by, sige balik-balik sa imong activity, na-endure na sa imong lawas, nagmanhid na siya, so na-adapt na siya sa imong lawas. Muscle endurance is when muscles keep exerting lot of force for a long time without fatigue. So kadugayan, so first, katong sa first try nimo sa curl ups, 10 pa, pero sa sige nimo balik-balik sa isa ka bulan, duha ka bulan, makaya na nimo ang 100, 200 without any pain. So that's what we call muscle endurance. It is used when doing press-ups or cycling. Pwede. What are those examples sa dynamic strength? Here, reverse lunge, elbow to step, balik-baliko ni muna siya repeatedly. That's an example of dynamic strength. Next, knee blocks. Pwede po siya. Next, basic squat, balik-balik. So kadugayan nimong basically ang basic squat sakit pa na sa pinakauna, mga 5 to 10 pa na imuha makaya, pero as time goes by, sa sige nimo balik-balik, pwede na nimo na matry hundreds of times without any fatigue or any pain. So that's an example of dynamic strength. Okay, back here, review. What are those under muscular and bone strength? First is static strength, explosive strength, and dynamic strength. Resistance machines or gyms or free weight equipment such as TRX or total resistance exercise, TheraBand are used when performing resistance exercise. So kung mag-gym ta, pwede po ta makakita dito og mga equipment that helps us gains or helps us strengthen our resistance exercises. Okay, what are those? Kaning mga dumbbell, kani kettles, rope, katong these are examples of machines and equipment sa resistance training. So back here, no, these are dumbbells. These are barbells, rope, kettles, and kani resistance ball. So pwede na siya gamiton tanan sa resistance exercises. So we're done with resistance exercise. So proceed to stretching exercise. What are those examples of stretching exercise and what are those effects niya sa atoang lawas? Stretching exercise increase the elasticity of the muscle. When we say elasticity, elastic, like for example, rubber band, so mainat-inat siya. These are tendons surrounding the joint and improve flexibility. So main goal sa stretching exercises is elasticity of muscle para mahimo tang flexible. Stretching exercises are important in improving range of motion around the joints. Dili lang kay gamay lang nga mga lihok-lihok or gamay nga abot, for example mokinto ka or abuton nimo magliston ka sa imong sapatos, magsakit dayon imong lawas. So pasabot you are not flexible enough. So stretching exercises can help you become flexible para maabot nimo or maka lihok-lihok ka within your range of motion without any kining pain. It helps an individual to perform daily tasks with efficiency. The effects of stretching exercises are felt whenever an athlete suffers an injury or when a person gets older. The more ta magkatigulang, the more nga magkasakit ang atoang mga kasukasuhan. So that's muna kay usually atong mga ma-observe, the more nga ang mga tigulang na sila mga sakit-sakit sa ila mga tuhod because of kining elasticity problems and flexibility problems. When the joint condition deteriorates as a result of injury or aging, the muscles surrounding the joint lose elasticity, leading to stiffness. Sakit na siya. Joint stiffness makes an ordinary movement such as raising the arm difficult and painful. Additionally, joint stiffness increases the risk of injury during sports competitions. So as nagkatigulang ka, tas kulang imong exercises, so possible ang effect ana sa imong lawas, dali ra ka magkasakit-sakit. So gamay nga kanang lihok-lihok, ngul-ngul na imong mga kasukasuhan kailangan nagpa-body ko. So yun ana siya. So yun ana na siya. So stretching exercises will help us to lessen the pain or lessen a problem sa ato ang elasticity or flexibility problem. So as a limb is moved to its entire range of motion, the muscle tendon unit gets stretched. So pag maglihok ta, ma-stretch ato ang mga muscle tendon. The muscle tendon unit has elasticity proper that enables to return to its original shape or length. The stretching exercises is performed over and over again. It is no longer completely returned to its original length, allowing to react on the load more effectively and initiate more fluid movement. So there are a lot of involves when we are performing or when we are stretching. Exercises that are just the flexibility of a joint will improve muscle coordination. When say muscle coordination, katong contraction sa imong muscle and mag-coordinate ang imong mga muscles. Ang muscle nimo sa biceps, ang muscle nimo sa triceps, sa trapezius. Connective tissue elasticity and overall joint strength. Kailangan mong siya og fluid para makalihok-lihok ka sa ato ang joints pod. As a joint moves, a three-dimensional space, muscle must be activated in the proper sequence or correct strength. This is the exam. This is very exact. Why we have this physical education para aware ta what are those proper training, what are those proper movements and proper ways para maiwasan nato ni o para ma-improve ang ato ang flexibility or stretching exercises. Flexibility training improves efficiency of movement. So, makalihok kag tarong, so daghan kag mabuhat. Kay wala man kay sakit-sakit sa lawas, so daghan kag mabuhat. That's what we call efficiency of movement. Furthermore, the increase in elasticity of muscles and the surrounding connective tissues increases the range of movement without resulting to any injury. Kanang dili ka dali lamya kayo, dili ka dali bikugan, dili ka dali matakilpo. So ma-improve imuhang kanang imuhang lawas, at the same time mapalayo ka sa mga injuries. Regular stretching routine will also help correct a person with muscle imbalance and improve his or her posture. Pag kanang luya kay kag lawas, kanang nasa imong kilid, perminti ka magkanang takilid, siguro na siya ba, dili regular or dili pantay imong muscles or kaning dako ang pikas or kaning luyat ang pikas nimong kamot. So yun ana siya ang kini stretching routine daw is maka-help siya para ma-maintain atong body posture. For example, kanang whole day ka nagsigig higda, whole day ka nagsigig lingkod. So take time to have a stretching exercise. Tindog ka at least 15 minutes para dili magsigisakit imong lawas, at the same time dili mabag-o imong posture, dili ka mabako. So yun ana ka importante, stretch siya, taas gamay imong kamot. So yun ana ka importante ang stretching exercises sa ato ang posture, sa ato ang lawas. Okay. This picture shows muscle involved during a leg stretching. The arrows points to the muscles being used while performing stretch. Okay, kanang mga nag-red dira mao na ang mga muscles nato nga nagalihok during leg stretch. Okay, di ba? Okay. Are there psychological benefits sa exercise? Na ba'y mga psychological benefits sa exercise? The effects of training go beyond biological changes. So, as much as these biological changes lead to a better health, an individual regularly trains can experience psychological, emotional, and even intellectual benefits. So these are examples of stretching exercises. Pectoralis stretch, wrist stretch, upper trapezius stretch, standing hamstring stretch, quadriceps, standing calf stretch, hip flexor stretch, a trunk rotation, double knee to chest, piriformis stretch, and hip adductor stretch, and a lot of more stretching exercises. These are examples lang gihatag ni Quipper. So, dili lang daw biological changes ang ginahatag sa ato. Dili lang mulami atong lawas, dili lang mulami atong posture during exercise. At the same time, balik ta sa exercise is integrated. Pasabot, pwede pud ka maka-experience og psychological changes. When we say psychological changes, it's something inner sa imong kuan, mas kanang mawala imong stress, makawala siya stress, emotional. Pwede ka kanang makalma imong sarili during exercises or ma-divert imong attention gikan sa mga problems. Pwede ka at least ma-lessen siya gamay, and also intellectual benefits. So sa sige nimo balik-balik, repeat, mas strengthen imong intellectual benefits. Nganong man, kasi sige kag exercise na kay mga repetitions nga ginabuhat, magsige makag-memorize kung asa nakaato, pila nakaka-count. So mas strengthen imong intellectual benefits. So that is the importance of exercises. Daghan siya benefits, kurida siya tanan sa tuang lawas. Dili lang muscle and bone ang ma-improve, at the same time psychological, emotional, and intellectual benefits. Exercise psychologists found strong evidence that regular exercises that improve mood of an individual and reduce anxiety. So, pwede siya di ay. Some forms of stretching exercise trigger relaxation by reducing muscle tightness. Exercise also claimed to stimulate and release feel-good brain chemicals called endorphins. What are endorphins gani? Sa first lesson na to, endorphins are so-called also unsa happy hormones. Moreover, some reports suggest that learning and intelligence quotient are positively associated with aerobic fitness. People also use exercise to cope with stress, kato kung giingon ganina, psychological and emotional, and control their depression. Exercise helps in increasing self-esteem. Syempre, maboost imong confidence kay dili naman ka kanang luya og lawas, and possible na changes imong lawas, so it will boost your self-esteem and self-confidence. So, kay confidence nga raparampa diha sa kanang kuan kay lami ako lawas, pero ana siya ba maka-boost siya sa imong confidence, and at the same time uplift siya sa imong self-esteem. Individuals also engage in sports and games because they find these activities enjoyable and fun for recreational activities. So pwede siya. And likewise, many individuals claim that exercise give them opportunities to interact and socialize with other people. Syempre sa gym, agoy, dili na. Mag-gym ra kay para makita og kanang kuan love life. So pwede dahil siya, no. Pwede maka-socialize with others. Pwede ka maki-socialize, makakita og mga friends. So it can also be a good manifestation of exercise also. The impact of exercise is not just our physical well-being but also improve the quality of life of an individual as well. So, it is advisable, 100% advisable from the exercise psychologist that we should engage in exercise kay daghan siya og effects sa ato ang lawas. So at least bahalag 30 minutes a day pwede na kayo na siya. So let's start now being physically active and healthy. Especially karon naka-quarantine ang kuan, dili kay tap basta-basta makagawas and restricted ang ato ang mga routines outside sa atong balay. So, we can utilize our time. We can manage our time. Even naga-online class ta, we can still manage our time. Paguman og klase sa isa, stretching ginagmay kay para dili malikaya nato ang kanang mga stiffness, malikaya nato ang mga muscle soreness and mga bikog kay regular man ta nag-exercise. So, possible nato na siya malikayan. Okay. Goalkeeper reaching out for the football. What specific resistance and searching exercise can you suggest to a goalkeeper of football? He will need to compensate his weight, protect and ball from going to the tall goals at goal posts. Give two stretching activities he or she can do. What are those examples of stretching activities nga pwede niya mabuhat sa goalkeeper? Ha? Kailangan siya stretching. Ano kailangan man siya stretching kay goal dakop man siya og bola, so dapat wide range iyahang cope sa isa ka lugar kay para madakop niya ang bola dili siya masulod sa goal. Okay, what are those exercises? Pwede unsa man kani standing calf stretch, pwede pud na niya buhaton, upper trapezius stretch, wrist stretch, and pectoralis stretch. All of these stretching exercises pwede siya buhaton sa goalkeeper kay para dili taas wide range iyang maabot. Okay, winning moments. In terms of muscle strength power, si Hildalyn, are you familiar with Hildalyn Diaz? Katong silver medalist nato sa weightlifting and at the same time sa Olympics to, sa SEA Games kay naka-gold medal siya. The Philippines proved that value of practice and consistent. Sige siya practice. Diba? Story ni Hildalyn, alsa lang siya baldi sa ilahang balay. Mauna iyang training. Always siya nag-aalsa og baldi tubig, naghakot og tubig. Consistent training sa atong muscles, it can improve. Then, effect ato. Sige, porsigido niya mag-exercise, she won the silver medal during the women's 53 kilogram weightlifting with total of 200 kilogram at the Olympic Games. Recently, sa SEA Games last year, 2019 December, nakakuha siya og kining gold medal sa SEA Games. So, yun ana siya. Always ta mag-exercise, balik-balik. It can improve our muscles. At the same time, pwede siya makahelp sa ato in better and efficient movement and mga trabaho nato sa ato ang daily lives. Okay. Understand? Okay, for this week, wala sa ko ihatag sa inyo nga activity para makarelax-relax sa tagamay. So, you will just answer katong mga activities or quizzes and assignments sa Quipper. So, anytime pwede nato yung ansiran. Okay? Sabtan tanan, if you have questions, you can ask at the GC or in our GC. I can answer there. And thank you. Kindly subscribe. Char lang. Bye everyone. Have a happy weekend.